Hey guys, Steve, Hobo with Wood, and I am making my first retraction video, correction video. I uploaded a video the other day showing how to use a lot of the tools in LightBurn, the shape tools, the array tool, and I goofed up. I was making the US flag freehand, not using any clip art, and yes, you can go on and find you a black and white image online, copy it, trace it. You don't have to design it. It's already there. And it's not, it's the smart thing to do. But this is an exercise to learn how to use the tools that you have at your disposal so that when you are designing something as simple as the flag and you want to design from scratch or you need to replicate something, or these are just a way to get familiar with the tools. Well, I screwed up, and thankfully Rich, the Louisianna Hobby Guy, was kind enough to point out that I made an error in the way that I aligned and situated the stars within the Union. And the last thing I want to do is disrespect Old Glory. So I do thank you for taking the time and letting me know, Rich, that hey, you screwed up. I will correct that right now. And I learned a few things in this video or creating this video that are a few more shortcuts that I didn't do in the other video. So if you've watched the one with the screw up, you might want to watch this one too, because there's some more things in it, and I'm going to share with you what Rich shared with me. Now, if you haven't found the Louisianna Hobby Guy on YouTube, you need to go find his channel and subscribe. Don't do it now. Just wait, please. Subscribe to my there. Subscribe to my channel, and then when you get through with this, go find his, subscribe to his. He's extremely informative, a very nice guy, and thank you, Rich, for pointing this out. So let's jump in here to LightBurn and see what I have done wrong and what we can do better. All right, let's start all over. Delete you. We got a fresh work bed. All right, so I'm staying with the original U.S. military recommendations, which is the 10:19 ratio. So grab your, in fact, I'm going to put it on the toolpath, and we're going to make a rectangle. Doesn't matter what you put in there, we're just going to draw one, and then in your select tools, and we'll come up here with your dimensions unlocked, put in the 19 width and the 10 height. Now there's your 10:19 ratio for the military standards on the flag. Now, the flag is made up of two separate parts, the Union and the Canton. The Union is the blue with the 50 stars, and the Canton has the 13 stripes. So in the last video, I made the 13 stripes. I think I might have made the Union first, and then I made 7 stripes and then 6 stripes. This time I'm going to do it a little different. This time I'm going to actually make all 13 stripes. Again, this actually needs to be on a layer, so I'm taking my double alt layer, square, and we are going to make any size rectangle, doesn't matter, hit our select tool. We know, and again, with our dimensions unlocked, we know that the width is 19, and the height is 1/13 of the overall height of the flag, because you need 13 equal stripes. Now, what I did last time was I changed my ratio with the dimensions locked to an even number, so it was easily divisible by 13, and I could do the math simple in my head. But this is what Rich pointed out to me, and pay attention to this. I'll zoom in on the video if I can. But we know that the width is 19. But this was 10, and we need to divide 10 by 13. Well, all you got to do, 10 divided by 13. You can use this just like a calculator. Enter. That just changed your bar to the correct height and width and height that it needs to be for our flag. So no math, nothing to worry about. You can use these as simple calculators. Something else that I mentioned in a previous video, I don't know about you, but I am constantly toggling back and forth between inches and millimeters when I'm designing and working. And if you're in the millimeter mode and you've got to put in here, and I'm right now, we're going to actually go back to inches so we can see. I've got 19. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 15 inches because that's wrong. We need to fix it. Say you were in the metric system, metric setup, and you're working in millimeters. And without having to go in and change it or convert and calculate, you can just come here and put in 19 and put in your one single double quote, 19 inches, or you can put in 19 IN, hit enter, and that's also going to compute and calculate what that should be. And now it's there in millimeters, but we click on inches, there it is, 19 inches. So those two fields, you can use them as a calculator, or you can put in inches, and or same thing with millimeters, mm for millimeters. All right, so now we need 13 of these. All right, so just so I don't have to deal with my toolpath, I'm going to highlight it, drag it down here out of the way for right now. Oh, well, come back here. There we go. Now I'm going to take my one bar that we know is correct, 19 with the height of 10 divided by 13, and come down here to this array. This is our array tool. Looks like a little tic-tac-toe board or checkerboard. And you want to make sure when you go to use your array tool that there's no values here in your X spacing or your Y spacing. Because if you've been using your array tool, your previous settings are going to come in when you open it. So if you're not wanting to use your previous settings, make sure they're all on 0. And now we need to create 13. Excuse me. We need to create 13 stripes. Now down here at the bottom, it tells you what your current count is. There's your count there too, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now you've got 13 stripes. Now what you want to do is select all of those and group them together. I'm going to zoom out where I can see my toolpath. Hold my shift key, select my toolpath, and hit the target button up here, the bullseye, the crosshairs, and now they are grouped together. I've got my bars on my toolpath. Now, the union. Last time when I designed my union, like I said, I think I did it first and then put the bars around it. And I said, well, it's not quite half, and it's more than a quarter, it's around a third. Well, actually, it is about 40%. So we're going to make us a square. That's 40% of the width. We know that the height is equivalent to 7 of these bars, because you got 7 bars beside the union and 7 stripes beside the union and 6 stripes underneath it. So we've drawn a rectangle, and now we need to get the correct dimensions. So leaving it unlocked, we know that our overall is 19 width, and we want 40%. So 19 times 0.40 equals, and we know the height is 7 bars of the 10. So if we start from scratch and we go 10 divided by 13, which gives us our individual stripe width, and now we need 7 of them, so times 7. 10 divided by 13 times 7 is going to equal the width of that, or the height of that union. Now with that selected, since I grouped all of the stripes a minute ago, hold the shift, select those, and we're going to bring it to the top, and then we're going to line it to the left. Now, that's in the correct position. but we need to remove this. Now, this is what I did. This is what I'm doing differently and didn't use at all in the last one. So, and pay attention, because if you don't do this exactly, it won't work. So we have one union here. Well, we need to cut that out and have just a blank space there. But when you use a shape in LightBurn as a cookie cutter, or as a path to cut, once it cuts, it eliminates that. It deletes that original shape. So we need to duplicate this. So with that selected, see your chase line, chase lights going that, just the union selected, Control D. And once you do that, those chase lights are going to go off. That duplicate is now there, and it's what's selected. When you duplicate that, your duplication is immediately selected or automatically selected, and it's overlaying the original. So now with that selected, holding your shift button and select your stripes, come up to tools. Oh, wait a minute. Why? Oh, I know why. See, you got to do this in order. Stripes first, then select your union, and it's hard to tell that you've got it selected since it's already in there. I'm going to zoom in here. I'll not out zoom in. Make sure shift, and we got it. And now zoom out. We should be able to go to cut shapes. There we go. Cut shapes. Now it doesn't look like much happened, except if you notice your chase lights are still going on here, but they're not going on here. And if you just click on those stripes, they're now a separate piece. With those highlighted or selected like that, just hit your delete key and they're gone. That's something completely different than I did before. And the order that you do that makes all the difference you just seen. So you have to duplicate your shape, your cut shape first, because it's going to eliminate that cut shape once you do your cut. So duplicate your cut shape, then select the piece that you want to cut, and then select your cut shape, go into cut tools, cut, and then delete what you don't want. So there, we have our basic layout of the flag. Now, this is where I really screwed up last time, was the layout of my stars. So to create a star, again, not grabbing any artwork, not doing any trace tools, you come over here to your polygon tool, hold your shift key, and drag out and create a shape. Now, that is a hexagon. Can't make a star out of a hexagon. Now, I have my shape properties already open, but I'm going to close them so you can see how we get there. You select that shape, and to get into shape properties, you can go there a couple of ways. You can, with that selected, right click, and then come down here, it says show properties. You can get there that way. Or you can come up here to your Windows tool and shape properties right here. So I don't have it selected. I don't normally keep it open. But if you select that, now it's over here in your tabs. Boom, there's your shape properties. There's nothing in here because we don't have a shape selected. We select that show properties, and now I'll move my camera out of the way. Now you can see the properties of that shape you just selected. And you can do multiple things to this thing. You can change its height and width and change the power scale. But here we all we want to do is change the number of sides, because we need to make it a pentagon. So with that selected, I'm going to close this so you can see the other way we get in there. That's selected, you can right click and show properties, and that's going to immediately pop that up. Same menu, looks the same, it's just two different ways of getting there. Sides, number of sides, we only want 5 sides. So if you watch that hexagon, we change it to 5. Now you have a pentagon. You can keep going, you can make it a triangle, do whatever you want. Look for an octagon. All right. So if you've struggled with trying to figure out how to make a stop sign or any other, for whatever reason you need a hexagon, an octagon, or whatever, well, you can change that shape's properties by opening shape properties. All right, get it back to our pentagon. There we go. Now, as long as this shape properties is open with that selected, it's going to continue to be editable. You can continue to edit the shape sizes and all that, but once you click away from that shape properties is gone, that shape is now locked. All right, now with that done, we're going to come over here and grab our pencil and just start connecting the dots. And hit our select tool. And we want to click on our original shape, which was the pentagon, and delete it. Now we have a 5-pointed star. Now, you can remove this inner pentagon by going into the node edits and start trimming and adding nodes, but there's an easier way to do that. With this selected, come to your offset tool, and again, thank you, Rich pointed this out. In order to have sharp, nice corners, you do your offset with just a complete 0. And what offset, if you're not familiar with offset, offset could be almost interchanged or exchanged with outline. It's going to create an outline of the shape that you selected. Then your offset distance is, if you watch around our star here, as I increase this offset distance, that's how far you're increasing your outline from around the original shape. But by keeping it to just 0, 0, it's just doing an exact outline, so it's going to give us a nice crisp pointed star. So offset 0, okay. Now you can also, while I'm here, we'll increase this so you can see the difference. You can change it to have round offset. The corners now are rounded, but we want nice sharp corners, so we're coming to 0, 0, okay. Now that's what, if I drag this, that's whatever you last created, whatever your select tool is highlighted, that's what's selected. So that the offset was the last thing I did. That was what was automatically in that selection. But if you get lost or confused, you just don't worry. You come in here. Now we know we want to get rid of the pentagon. Select that. And if I drag it out, it's actually the original star. And we just want to delete it. Now we have our offset copy cookie cutter shape of the star. Now we need to make 50 of these in the correct arrangement. This is where I screwed up last time. And again, I really do appreciate Rich pointing this out so I can correct that mistake. And this goes for anybody. Guys, I've only been doing this since Father's Day this year, and I've had no training. The extent of my training has come from hands-on and watching the likes of Rich at Louisianna Hobby Guy, Pawpaw's Workshop, another good one. And if you want to be entertained and see some good creations, Build That Build's another good one. Those are some of the ones I really pay attention to. All right, so we need to get 50 of these into this union. And obviously that's going to be way too big. So holding my control button and drawing it in, bringing it down to its approximate shape or size. But now I can tell you that the star is 80% of the width of one of those stripes. The stripes are 1/13 of their overall height. So you can come up here again with the calculator. Let's see if this will work. Go to our largest number here, which is the width. And we want to determine the width of a stripe. So we've got 10 divided by 13. That gives us a stripe. Now we want 80% of that. times 0.80 equals. I should have locked that dimension. So let's just undo, lock it, go back to there. 10 divided by 13 times 0.8 equals. There is a correct dimension of a star, and I like to, in order to get this arrangement set up correctly, I like working from this position. If I zoom in, and if you want to get really technical, you can go online and find the exact spacing and distance. But I know that the points of these stars are just below the first stripe, and the distance between this side of the union and this side of the union, the top is slightly greater. So that looks pretty decent for right now. This is a starting point. We can move and edit this in a few minutes if we need to reposition it up, left, or right. But that looks like that's a good place for me to start. So I'm going to zoom out so I can see my whole thing. Select that one star, come back to our array tool, our tic-tac-toe board or checkerboard, and I want to get it where we can see what's going on. Again, making sure you have 0 zeros in your X and Y spacing. Okay, in order to make this array work and have them aligned correctly, we're actually going to replicate more stars than we need, but we're going to edit those out at the end. So we need to have, let's not start with rows first, let's start with our columns. And we don't want to do any shift by half. Right now we're going to leave that be. We got reverse directional because I need to go from right to left. All right, so I need 11 columns, and I need 5 rows. Is that right? Yeah, so it shows I have a total of 55 stars. Now, with starting in that corner where I did, that's the anchor for this array. So now if I shift by half on my columns, and we'll want to zoom in a little bit here so we can see. A little better. All right, and then I come over here to my Y spacing, and since I don't know the value, I'm just going to this up button here, and I'm going to now, and we have a total of 55 stars, remember? So I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows that are 6 across, and that's where I messed up last time. And again, I do sincerely thank you, Rich, for pointing out my error. But so this star needs to be down here closer to this stripe. And so I'm just going to keep increasing that Y spacing until I get where I want to be. Now, that is a little more than I want. I'm going to subtract. That's better. Ignoring these 5, we're going to delete those. We're not quite in the center, but we're going to fix that too. So, but that looks good. So I'm going to say OK. Oh, I said I'm going to say OK. All right, that's easy enough. I did that last time too. All right, I keep getting ahead of myself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, and 11. Half shift, and then there. Now, OK, done. Now I want to get rid of my extra stars. Select one, hold shift, select all 5 of them. Delete. Now, come right down here, drag, and once you just get to touch all 50 stars, group those together. And since those are what's selected and that's what you want to move, you grab those first, and then you grab the union, hit your crosshairs, and now she's centered up. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the way you build the stars in the union the correct way. Okay, zoom out. And actually, that is now a finished project, except I need to do one big thing. I'm going to select all this, group it together. Now I'm going to move it to the center of my work page. And I'm going to go to my work page. I designed it off the page because she's bigger than that. Now, with everything locked, I'm going to hit Control Shift and shrink her down so I don't have a lot of confusion going on there. Go to my library, art library, and I created a folder the other day, flags, and put in my wrong one. I'm going to bring this in to show you. Add graphic to project. And bring it up. I had the wrong alignment and arrangement of stars. It's supposed to be 6, and I went with 5 across the top. And I had 6, and it should have been 5 down the side. So, you see where I screwed up. But now that I've got this one in here, my art library is incorrect. Let's get this off of my work page. And this one is called American Flag. I select it, tell it I want to import graphic from project. It's going to ask me to name it, and I'm just going to name it the exact same thing, American Flag. And it's going to tell me, you've already got that one. Do you want to replace it? Why, yes, I do, since I was an idiot and I made it wrong to begin with. So, yes, done. So now in my art library, I have a U.S. flag that I've designed and I can bring into my projects anytime I like. So, if you have served in our service, a military service, and you've seen my previous video and were offended by anything that I did, my apologies. And thank you for your service. And again, I can't say it enough. Thank you, Rich, for pointing out my screw up. Now, folks, if you've already hit that subscribe button, where is it? It's there. Yeah. If you've already hit that subscribe button, look for future videos. I thank you for taking the time to watch. Now, go find the Louisianna Hobby Guy and subscribe to him. So, until next time, it's been Steve, Hobo with Wood.